Everyone is the same. Some of us just cope differently. You know, I think we all go through, various different experiences in our lives, right? And these experiences, shape our personalities and shape, how we respond in different situations, right? And they also affect how we respond to other future situations based off what we've previously experienced, right? And this forms somebody's personality. But I think that a lot of us think that we are so different when in reality, if we had gone through some of the scenarios other people have went through, we'd probably end up exactly the same. You know, I believe like we all have our own free will, right? So we can all make our own decisions and things of that nature. But I think people give themselves too much credit onto why they're so different than somebody else. When in reality, if you were in their scenario, you'd probably be exactly like them. Now, there are like obviously extreme ends to this, like when you think about like serial killers or you think about, you know, people who do horrible crimes, but it's like, you know, isolation is a thing that many people have experienced, but not everybody goes about it in the same way. Henceforth, why I believe that we all just cope differently. Like many people live the same lives, but we just make, certain decisions that alter our path. But in reality, if one person A made the same decision as one person B, and both decisions led down the same path, I would almost guarantee they would feel and think the same way about a certain topic or an idea. So it's like, how much of what we know, how much of our own personality is really ours? Like, at a certain point, you got to think like the only reason that you're not the only reason, but one of the only reasons that you're not, probably psychotic or, super hypocritical or just super, extreme in one aspect is because, you might have not been in an experience that could have led you to that thought process. Like everyone looks at people who are like super isolated and then, go on to be like either a super genius or like a fucking like a mass murderer and think, why would somebody do that? That's absolutely insane. What could cause somebody to think like that when it's like, it's almost as if you were to put yourself in that perspective, not saying that's what everyone is going to do, but it almost starts to become more understandable how immense isolation can cause you to be drastic, to do like drastic things in any direction you go in. Henceforth, why I say some of us just cope differently. So I don't know. I think maybe we're all more alike than we like to believe, which kind of all brings me to a perspective of when you see somebody, do something, extreme or crazy, instead of looking at it from a perspective of that person is this, that person is that, I like to look at it in a perspective of this could have been me. I could have been somebody who done that. I think that changes your worldview so much.